The variegated string of hearts used to be a very, very expensive plant. They were really hard to find, especially for me. It took me a very long time to find one. I actually bought one early in my plant collecting journey, and it was probably like this big, like from the top of the pot to like right here. And I think I spent maybe like $30 or something on it, and it was one of my first like online plant purchases, and I really thought I was doing a splurge. I really thought that I was spending a lot of money on it, but it didn't end up living, and I bought another one, I guess like maybe a year ago or so, and it was much cheaper. I think it was like maybe like $15, $20, and it was a little bit bigger, and I've been able to keep it alive for a while. So as you can see, we got some really, not really long vines, but like some pretty long vines for the size of the plant. So I think I'm probably eventually going to wrap this up around just to make the top of the pot fuller. I've done that with other string of hearts, and they do really well doing that. You kind of just like position them around the pot, and then they will send out little roots down into the soil, and it just helps them be a little bit fuller and maybe put out more branches if you're wanting to thicken up your plant without cutting it or something like that. But I have heard that these are really easy to propagate via the butterfly method, so if you're interested in propagating this one, I've heard it's easy. I haven't done it myself, but well, outside of water, I have just like cut off like the ends and stuck it in water, and it rooted just fine. So anyway, there's lots of different propagation methods out there. Butterfly method and water propagation and things like that will do fine for the string of hearts here. Okay, next up, I have a variegated plant that kind of stresses me out, but it is definitely one of my favorites, which is why it's on this list. This is a Philodendron Florida Beauty, and I was looking for this plant for a very, very, very long time. They can be extremely expensive, and I wanted to get a plant that was a little bit more established, and then I ended up doing a book signing at Lost in the Forest Co., and I saw this there, and I was really excited. So basically, this is the mother leaf, and it's like a really nice half moon variegation situation, and it was a mid-cut, so from that mid-cut, it sent out this long piece here, which has produced almost exclusively green leaves, which people have told me that Florida Beauties are known for doing that, which is, I don't know, just basically they told me to just keep going and see if it will eventually put out another variegated leaf. So I am pretty bummed because, as you can see, we've got that beautiful variegated leaf at the bottom, and then everything that it has put out since then has been fully green, and the leaves are beautiful and mature. Like, I'm still happy with the plant, obviously, but being that it was supposed to be variegated and it's not, I'm like, dang it. But I really love the leaf shape of these. I think they're so cool. It's just so unique, and I quite enjoy seeing all of the leaves come out. This is this is the newest leaf that came out. It looks a little bit less mature than previous ones, but anyway, I am hoping that we will get these variegated leaves again, and if not, I have a beautiful green Philodendron Florida, and I will still be on the hunt for a variegated one, so we'll just have to see. It's one of the more expensive plants on the market right now, and I really would prefer to find like a really good deal rather than spending a ton of money. But since I already have this plant, I know that I would do well with it. So I think the stress of owning the plant is a little bit less, knowing that I can obviously keep it alive and very happy. It currently lives in my greenhouse cabinet, and I swear it puts out a new leaf like every other week. So it's been really happy, and that's super exciting. Okay, next up, you know I had to bring her out. This is a cutting from my Monstera deliciosa albo variegata. Long name. Basically, the Monstera albo. So yeah, this plant is obviously a huge favorite of mine. I have a couple of them that I've acquired over the years, and there's different versions. Obviously there's the Thai constellation, which I feel like I showed rather recently, but this is the albo, and so it has white variegation. It's a little bit less stable than the Thai constellation. The Thai constellation actually has stable variegation, which means that the variegation will always be there, whereas this one right here, and I guess also the Florida Beauty, does not have stable variegation, which means that the plant could technically lose it. It could get it back, but it's a possibility that the plant could lose it. So with this one particularly, I wanted to show this because I feel like this is like an exemplary cutting. My plant thankfully has always had really well balanced leaves, But when it comes to variegation, a lot of people are like, ooh, I want as much white as possible. I love the white. I want to have like all of my variegated plants be huge white margins and things like that. But having leaves like that is actually very risky because the likelihood of this leaf getting brown is so much smaller because this does not exist on it. So this section is not contributing anything to the plant. So basically plants use the green spaces on their leaves to photosynthesize. That's very simplified, but that's pretty much what happens. And so when there are large white margins on the leaf, the plant is basically not dead in that spot, but it's not contributing. So that'll be the first part of the leaf that gets killed off when the leaf is looking for moisture or in any sort of distress or anything like that. I would really suggest looking for something that has really well balanced variegation like this leaf. Like this leaf is, like this marbling is very ideal. Of course, if you get a leaf that has something like this, that's fine too. Just know that if it turns brown, it's fine. The plant is not gonna die. It's just getting rid of the weakest link. And the last plant that I wanted to show you is my variegated Epipremnum pinnatum. This plant is awesome. And if you didn't know, it is related to pothos. So pothos is actually an Epipremnum, which is what this is. So they're all related. And so I have found that the care is extremely similar and they are very, very rigorous growers. This particular piece has not been that fast of a grower for me, but I do have another piece that outgrew the plank that I put it on within like, I don't know, 2 weeks. It was crazy how fast it was producing new leaves. And I feel like this plant right here, like I have a lot of my plants on planks. I don't know if you can see it. You know, you can't see any in the background of this one right here. But yeah, I really like to use wood planks for my plants, but I have found that this plant is just way too fast of a grower. And so I'm probably going to put it on a moss pole and like twine it up around the moss pole because it is just such a rigorous grower. Like I'm actually really shocked by it. And once it stops having something to climb, it kind of shot off a runner and the leaves got a lot smaller. So anyway, all that to say, we're here to talk about the variegation. The variegation on this plant actually looks super similar to a Monstera albo in my opinion. And this plant is a lot easier to find, let's say. I guess maybe it would possibly be more affordable or more achievable. I don't really know what the exact word I'm looking for is, but it's a little bit more of a, because they grow so fast, I feel like they're a lot easier to find cuttings of. You know, it might not be something that you find walking into a big box store, but if you're shopping online, I bet you could find one for a really good price just because, again, they are super rigorous growers. Anyway, it is a climbing plant. So you can see it has some roots right here, like some aerial roots, which obviously most aeroids do have. And so it latches on to whatever you put it on, either a wood plank or a moss pole. And the leaves get bigger and bigger and bigger. And what's really cool about these is they have like tiny little fenestrations. It's probably going to be hard to see, but there's a little one right there and a little one right here. They're basically like tiny little pinholes, and I just think that they're really cool. It's interesting to see the leaves mature faster than usual because a lot of houseplants take a while to get those more mature form of leaves. But yeah, this one kind of does it a lot faster, I've seen. So when it starts getting those fenestrations, that's how you know that it's becoming a lot more mature. And this plant doesn't have all that impressive of variegation, as you can see. That is something that was a little bit concerning for me in the beginning, but I kind of just trusted the process because it put out this leaf, which has like, you know, very dark green, and then this leaf, obviously, which I've shown a lot, has lots of variegation, and I can already see that the new leaf coming out is pretty well marbled as well. So variegation will wax and wane, I've noticed, and it's just an interesting ride to see what each new leaf will look like for variegated plants in general. I just really like that each new leaf is going to look different. Now, of course, there are variegated plants that have consistent variegation where each leaf is going to be variegated in the exact same way every time. Those are a little bit less interesting to me, admittedly, but I do still quite enjoy them. But I think today I've shown you leaves that will typically all look kind of different. I mean, this one, they all look similar enough to where it's like, I don't know, I don't really tell the difference between a lot of these leaves. But yeah, stuff with like, especially with this Epipremnum or the Monstera albo, like each leaf is going to be unique, which is super cool. All right, friends, that is going to be the end of the video. I hope that you enjoyed hearing about my favorite variegated plants right now and a little bit more, hopefully, you know, hot tips and education about variegated plants in general. I would love to hear your favorite variegated plants because, like I said, I have less variegated plants than I